I do qualify to speak because I did take one class from Barbara, because I kind of thought, oh, why do they want me to say anything? And I'm like, wait a minute, I do qualify. So and everyone in my family has given Barbara Scheffer the honorary name of Aunt Barb. And people from, my brother is up front here, Leonard, he has a very extended family from his wife, and all of that family calls Barbara Aunt Barbara. So she's been Aunt Barb to us since I was born. And at one point, my mom said, you know, she doesn't like the name Barb. She wants to be called Barbara. And I said, well, tough luck. I mean, I tried it a couple times and it just didn't roll off my tongue. It's Aunt Barb. I'm sorry, Barb, but you're stuck with Barb, okay? So that's where the Aunt Barb came from. And for those of you that don't know, my mom and my dad moved to Pennsylvania for my father to teach. And Barbara lived in the same building, and they ran into my mom and Barbara. My mom, Carol, ran into Barbara doing laundry, and they became immediate friends. My mom knew nobody, and my brother and I were not born yet, and my father and Barbara would discuss politics and more politics, and over, you know, some heated discussions, and that never ended. And just, I know this is, we couldn't be together at a more perfect time because it's an election season. And I just remember, and I talked to Carrie about this at her funeral, but I would call Barbara like a week before I would vote with all of the amendments and say, can you please explain to me what this means? And I always had to have a lot of time prepared to talk to her, because she would not only tell me what they meant, but she would explain the history of the vote. And I always got more than I bargained for, but she made me a more educated, smarter person. And she would, on some of the amendments, say you can go this way or that way, but when it came to the main people to vote for, she wanted to tell me who to vote for. And I remember sometimes my brother and I would give her a little feedback to the opposite, just because it was fun to fight with her. I mean, it's like boxing without gloves, and she is so smart. Like, I didn't have a chance, but it was still fun. And she would go, Steffi, 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 Steffi. And I just thought of that when you referred to me as Steffi, because there's only a few people that call me that. And it makes me a little teary, because she would just, Steffi, 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 Steffi. And it just, like, you would stop, because I was like, oh, here it comes. Like, I got her. Like, I got her. And it was just fun and challenging to debate with her. And she, when she was ill at the end, like, she every once in a while would come to, and the TV would be on, and she would say some choice words about who was on the TV, and it was still in there. It's still, like, up until her last fight was still about politics, and she really, really wanted to live to see the outcome of this election, but she said if she did live and it wasn't the right outcome, she would die on the spot. So, I mean, and she was just funny like that. Like, she really, really wanted to live to see the election. So on election day, I'm going to be talking to her a lot about the outcome in either direction. So it's kind of fun that we're all together right now. This time of year that's also fun is, I don't know if any of you remember her Halloween costumes, but I feel like we have to discuss that a little bit, because it is Halloween time, and the only way us Floridians know it's Halloween time is because the humidity is not 100%. But I went over and spoke with my mom this morning, and we were talking about her Halloween costumes, and one year she dressed as a tort. And I was like, tort like a tart? She's like, no, a tort. I was like, okay, well, I guess like smart people find that like a good costume, but I didn't get it. And then this one, okay, so this is, I don't know if anyone even knows this, you probably do. She dressed in a prison outfit, and on her way to work, she got pulled over for speeding in her prison outfit, which must have been hysterical for the cop. I mean, can you imagine like this, older lady? And Barbara, and maybe some of you know this or don't know this, Barbara drove like a bat out of hell all the time. And you can't blame it on her phone or any other distractions. She just absolutely did not feel like the speed limit applied to her. And the crazy part is she lives out in Palm Beach Country Estate, so there's like that long road. She must have been pulled over on that road by the same cop like 5 times. And she just like was like, and he's like, where are you late to? She's like, I'm not late. She just did not think that it applied to her. So that was another funny costume. And then there was the nun costume. Anyone here at the school? Okay, she dressed, and if you know Barbara, a nun costume is a costume. And so she kept going with the full gear on and would stand at the doorway of classrooms just to mess with people. And the people that knew her or had grown up with Catholicism were like, oh. And she got the biggest kick out of that. She really did. And then the other thing I just want to comment on is that I may not know each of you individually, but I know your names. You were her family. You really were her family. So when I hear a name and I can attach a face, I know about you. That could be good or bad, but I know a lot about you. She spoke about you guys, and it wasn't like, oh, this person so and so, they did this. She would say your name as if I should know who you are, and I do know who you are. And when I come on this campus, I feel her. She's here. She loved this campus so, like it was her home. She cared, I could actually say this, she cared for this campus more than her home. Honestly, she basically slept at home when she was working. It was a safe place to sleep. My mom would make her a meal if she made it home, but this was her home. If I wanted to talk to her or visit with her or share something with her, I came here. So I have a comfort here that is more comforting to me than when I'm at their present home. This was her home, and I feel her everywhere. I see her in your faces. I really enjoy that when you share that you're going to carry her belief system, her feistiness into your family, into the universe, into a day like today. That really means a lot, because this is where she wanted to be all the time. And I have so many memories of coming here to visit with her in the law library. We would grab something to eat. I often had to discuss something with her, and I would discuss it with her here because I had her full attention like I was a student. Not to say I didn't at home, but I really had it here. And I remember hearing about her as a professor, and I only knew her as Aunt Barb. I mean, not only, but she was my aunt at home. So I finally said, okay, I'm gonna take your class. And she said, really? Oh, okay, that might be fun. And I saw something in her when she taught. Honestly, I've only seen that in a few professors in my life and teachers. The passion she had, she made me interested in stuff that I really had no interest in. You couldn't not be interested in sitting for class. She was engaging. She wanted feedback. She didn't want you to just go along with her thought process. She wanted to hear why you disagree. Why do you agree? What are you going to do about it? And that was really inspiring for me. And, also just as a woman, I had dropped out of school and gone back and dropped out and gone back. Anyway, she finally said, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What are you gonna do?" And I said, I guess I'll go back to school, but I think I'm too old now." And she said, I went to law school at 40. Like, what are you talking about? You're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. Like, get it over with. Do it. And I just remember, like, now that I'm older than 40, I just remember thinking, like, she was a game changer. She was like, okay, the mental health is not available in Pennsylvania. I guess I'll go to law school. And the only thing she loved more than law was right here. She loved law, but she liked to teach law. And so I have a little boy, not a little girl, but I always try to encourage young women, like, you can do anything you want to do. You can do anything. And she really taught that to me. They broke the mold. And I miss her dearly, but I see her in each and every one of you. And thank you so much for sharing and inviting my family here. And she'll be missed, but she's in our hearts forever. That's it.